she's a phenomenal person. So Menucha works with lots of different outreach programs, and specifically Chabad Malvern, but also Menucha is the mother to some amazing children, one of them being Menucha Cooper, who I'm sure some of you have heard of before. And Mendy is an incredible boy, but he also happens to have Angelman syndrome, which is a condition that Menucha will explain a little bit more about later, but it's a condition that makes things different for him than the progression of what people and other children experience. So today Menucha is here to talk to us and to our children about how to engage them and include them, and how to be somebody who's around and inclusive of different people with different sorts of special needs. So whenever you're ready, Menucha, we still have some people joining, but feel free to fill in any of the blanks that I didn't share yet. And thank you again so much for doing that. This was
my pleasure.
very
Everyone, we'll just wait a few more minutes.
Yeah, let's wait a couple more minutes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm just, last minute things. Mendy had a busy day because Mendy had a Zoom party with his friends today on Zoom from his friends at Yeshiva. So it was really fun and exciting.
I heard that it was really amazing.
Yeah, it was really beautiful.
Happy birthday to Mendy, Menucha.
Thank you. I know. I can't believe he's 7. It seems so surreal, actually.
Wow. Many more in good health.
Amen. Exactly. All right. I'm just going to get my bearings here. One good thing about a Zoom party is you don't have to clean up, then pack up,
Amazing.
That's good.
Was it his whole yeshiva class?
Yeah, they all came. So I prepared these birthday boxes they picked up, and then all the activities were in there. So it was really fun.
Oh, that's so precious. And did everyone do the activities online together?
Yeah, they were the boys were great. And my son juggled, and my husband said a story. So it was all very fun.
You're giving us ideas for future programs right now. So thank you.
If people don't mind to put their camera on, I would really appreciate it. It's just easier to actually talk to people's faces. But if you can't, I totally understand that too. But if you can, that would be great. If not, no stress at all. Hi, Sophie. Who else do we know here? Is that Rachel? What's your name? I'm going to just guess the names on the screen. Hi, Tally. Hey, Victoria. Okay, we'll just wait. Okay, we'll just wait one more minute and then we will start. Okay, we're going to start because it's 6:05. But I'm sure people want to join in later, they can. So hello, everybody. It's really an honor and a privilege to be here today talking to you all. And I think it's really apropos that it's done today, which is, yesterday was Mendy's 7th birthday. And as I always say, Mendy is my inspiration. And without Mendy, I don't think I would be doing all this and so involved and so passionate about this. So thank you, Mendy, for being my inspiration. I'm just going to try and sorry, I'm not very good at this. So whoops, no, sorry. Gallery view. Okay, that's better. Now I can see everyone. All right. So my name is Menucha, and I really, really want this to be as interactive as possible. So if anyone has a question or a comment or wants to say something, please feel free. You do not need to wait till the end for questions. You just raise your hand and hopefully I will see you. And please feel free. I want it to be interactive as possible. Just a a side note, this is geared to children. But I see there's lots of adults, which is fantastic. There's some people waiting in the waiting room, Yafa. Sorry.
Thank you, Menucha.
So this is geared to children, but if adults want to ask questions at any time, you are most welcome to at any time. And I hope that my tech will be okay, because I'm not very tech savvy. So I'm just going to show you to begin with. This is a picture. Hold on one. Here we go. So this is a picture of my beautiful family. And as you can see, the one that I'm holding, that is my beautiful son, Mendy, in the middle. And I will show you, sorry, the next. And this is Mendy. So the title of the talk today is Mum, why does he walk like that? And I will just preface that for those that don't know, Mendy is actually using what we call a croc walker. All this equipment has a lot of really cool names. There's especially if it's made in Australia, there's the Wombat, there's the Cricket, there's the Mustang. And so Mendy's in the croc walker today. So my goal for this talk today is to hopefully plant some seeds. And especially for the children, I want you to, at the end, hopefully at the end of the session today, is to really feel comfortable about seeing people who might be different to us, being able to ask questions, and to treat everyone as we would want to be treated. And I guess for the adults, I think this is a good way of talking about how we can talk about this discussion with children. So first things first, we're going to get straight into it. Okay, and we'll ask the adults, but we'll also ask the children. Okay, because I know Sophie's name. Sophie, what do you see in front of me? I don't mind if everyone unmutes, as long as you keep, the noise level down. I really don't mind if you unmute. So Sophie, what do you see in front of you? And rather in front of me. Lollies, that's right. So I have here a yellow lolly. I have here a brown lolly. I have here a white and red lolly. I have here a blue lolly. And to be honest, my favorite flavor from all these lollies is the red lolly. All right. Victoria, what's your favorite lolly?
I love the peppermint one. So it's like
peppermint one. Good choice. Okay. Benji. Is there a Benji? I think I just saw a Benji. Benji, what color would your favorite lolly be?
Red.
Red. Good choice. Okay. And that boy who's eating a lolly over there, what's your name?
Noah.
Noah, what color would your favorite lolly be?
All of them.
All of them. Good choice. Now I want to ask, sorry, what's your name? Who's sitting with Noah? What's your daughter's name?
Which one, right?
Oh, no.
And what's your beautiful girls' names?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
This is Rania. This is Sophia.
Sophia. Okay. So can you tell me what's the same about all these lollies?
That they're all lollies.
That's right. They're all lollies. They're all sweet. They're all sugary. They're probably not very good for our teeth, right? And what's different about these lollies?
They're all different colors and shapes.
They're all different colors, exactly, and they're different shapes. Like some are really round and some are two-tone. Some are actually three-tone, all right? But at the end of the day, what's the same about all these lollies?
They all taste good.
They all taste good, exactly. Now, I want you to think about that for a second, because we're going to be thinking about this in a few minutes. So in here, I have probably around 25 lollies, all different colors, all different shapes, all different flavors. But at the end of the day, when I open them all up, they're all lollies. And we all have a preference of the color that we like. Okay? Now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you a short video. And I want you to look very carefully at, while watching this video, I want you to think about 2 points. Okay? I'm going to say them twice. The first point that I want you to talk about, what is the same about all these children in the video? What is the same about all these children in the video? And the second point is, what is different about these children in the video? So raise your hand if you understand what you need to do. Awesome. We have such a great crowd. Okay, I am going to share it now. Give me 1 second. It's not very long. And
האדם קטן והעולם גדול, לכל אחד יש את דרכו, אחד רוצה מעט אחר הכל, אשרי שמח בחלקו, מי שזכה קיבל במתנה.
okay. Did everyone see the video? Was it clear enough? All right, who can raise their hand and tell me what was the same about all these children? All these beautiful, beautiful children. Raise your hand so I know I could choose you. Okay, what's your Rachel, what's your name?
This is Libby.
Libby, what was the same about all these children?
That they're all happy and smiling.
That's a beautiful observation. Well done, Libby. They were all happy and smiley. Who else wants to tell me what was the same about all these children? Bella.
That they're all children.
That's right. They're all children. Exactly. Very good. One more person. What else was all the same about all these children? Anyone else want to answer? Someone who doesn't have a video?
You can say.
Gemma.
Yeah, there you go. That's Darcy. What was the same? Were they all happy? Is that what you said?
He got shy.
What was he going to say?
He also said they were all very happy.
Beautiful, beautiful. So in this video, we saw lots of boys and lots of girls, and they all looked really happy. And yes, Danny wants to say something. Danny's iPhone? Oh, no. Okay. Now, who could tell me what was different about these children? What are some of the differences about these children? Raise your hand. I hope I could see everyone. Anyone want to answer? What was different about these children? Okay, Danny's iPhone. Sorry, what's your name?
My name is Jessica. I'm just on my mum's phone.
That's all right, Jessica.
Some are boys and some are girls.
That's right. Some are boys and some are girls. Yes, the boy in the red t-shirt. What's your name?
Ben.
Ben.
Some of them were different. They're different skin colors and hair.
That's right. Some had different skin colors and some had different hair. That's right. Sophia.
Dit is voor een disability.
Yeah, go, Sophia.
They have, some of them have like disabilities, and some of them are just normal children without any.
That's right. That's a very good observation. Sophia noticed that some have a disability. For example, some were have the hearing aid, some were using a walker, some was a boy was in a wheelchair. So that's a very, very good observation. Ronnie's name, did you want to say something? Okay, and David, what did you want to say?
That they're all different ages.
That's right, they were all different ages. So if we look at that picture, right, there was a lot of things that were the same about us, but yet there was some things that were different about us, okay? Now, I want you to think about yourself for a second, and I want you don't necessarily have to look in the mirror, but think about what is special about you. What do you have that's really, really special? You can think of one thing or you can think of two things. What's something that you have that's really, really special? And we'd love to hear, because it's always nice to say things about yourself too. What's something that's very special about you? Rachel.
You can put it.
Be nice to animals.
You think you're nice to animals?
It's your turn. Libby, what do you want to say? Libby, say.
I'm kind to everybody, even if I don't know them.
That's a beautiful thing. Libby said she's kind to everyone, even if she doesn't know them. That's beautiful, beautiful. Who else wants to tell us something special about themselves?
I do.
Dov.
Cool. I've got this special white spot on my beard.
That's pretty awesome.
It is.
Cool. Okay, what else does someone have that's special about themselves? Anyone else want to say? I'm sure you all have. Okay, yes.
That being Jewish.
Oh, being Jewish, that's pretty cool too. Yes. Anyone else want to add? Bella?
Nothing. I think she's shy.
Okay, you can all think, because I'm sure that there's lots and lots of special things that you have about yourself. Okay, and now I'm going to show you something else. Someone's had, sorry, Adelis, your hand is raised. Yes, please tell me.
I know how to play a piano.
Oh, play the piano. That's awesome. Maybe one day you can show us. And Jake wants to tell us something.
Take care of people.
Jake takes care of people. That's beautiful. So all of you have something that's really, really special about you. So every single human being in this world, no matter if they're a boy or a girl, a man or a lady, we all have things that are very special about us, right? Now, I'm going to show you some statements, and you're going to think about them and tell me if you think they're true or if they're false. False means if they're not true. And I'll explain them as well, okay? So I'm going to show you. Okay, so the first one is, don't judge a book by its cover.
Papa.
Okay, so that's the statement. Do you judge a book by the cover? Do you think it's going to be a good book? Raise your hand if you think that's true.
True. That's true. That's true.
Is it true? So
Yeah.
Is it true that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover? Who thinks you should judge a book by its cover? Raise your hand. So most of you are telling me that we shouldn't judge a book by its cover. We're going to get back 1 second. Here we go. I wish I was quicker, but we'll have to bear with me. Sorry. And, oh, how does it go to? The next one is, we are all made in the image of Hashem, in the image of God. Who agrees with that? Are we all made by Hashem and in the image of God? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Great. It looks like everybody agrees with that one, that we are all made in the image of Hashem. Fantastic. Okay, next one. Here we go. Next one is, you can only communicate with words. You can only communicate with words. Communicate means how I'm talking to you. You can only tell people what you want. Is it true that you can only communicate with words? I see a lot of people nodding their head. What do you say, Ben?
It's Benji.
Benji. Oh, I'm talking about the Ben up there, I think. Are you Benji?
Yeah. No.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking about Ben up there. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Ben, did you want to say something?
No.
Talking is the main.
Sorry?
Talking is pretty much the only way you can communicate, because other ways aren't very common, but I guess.
Right. So Ben said a very interesting point. Listen to this. Ben said that talking is probably the most common way of talking, which is correct, Ben. But let me tell you that there are lots of other ways that we can communicate with each other without saying words. And I'm going to get back to that. My son, Mendy, who is 7, the only word that he actually says is mama. And do you know that I, most of the time, can tell what he wants and what he needs? Not always. And sometimes we use some sign language. And I'm going to get my husband to bring me a book. There's lots of different ways that we communicate. For example, there's such a thing called a pod book, which I'm going to show you in a minute, where it uses pictures so children who don't know how to use words can point to the pictures to tell the person what they want. Have you heard of sign language? Raise your hand if you've heard of sign language. Now I'm going to teach you some sign language. This means finished. We're not finished yet, but everyone go like this, finished. And when you put your hands like this, I know it's a bit hard, and you go like this, that means more. And thank you is this. Thank you. So everybody, we're going to do 3 things in sign language. You ready? Finished, more, and thank you. So we're going to get back to that, Ben, because that was a really good point, but that was good for saying. Okay, next one is
stop. I'm not funny.
Someone who can't talk also doesn't understand. Someone who can't talk also doesn't understand. Who agrees with that? Nod your head if you agree and shake your head if you don't agree. It looks like a lot of people don't agree. Okay, I'm just going to get Ruby to bring me the book, sorry, so that I could show you because it's really cool. Okay, so you all agreed that just because someone doesn't talk with their mouth, it doesn't mean they don't understand. For example, my son Mendy, he doesn't know how to use his words yet. Okay, because his brain works a little bit different, but he understands when we tell him things, and he's very cheeky, because you know what happens lately? He goes to the drawer, and I say, no, Mendy, and he says, no, Mendy, and then you know what he does? He looks at me, and then he laughs, and he does it. So he's very cheeky, and he fully understands. Okay, now, next one. Here we go. The next one. We are all special in our own way. We are all special in our own way. Who agrees with that? Raise your hand. Awesome. I really like the way everyone's thinking. Fantastic. Next one. You guys are awesome. Next one. We all want to belong and be loved. We all want to belong and be loved. Who agrees with that? Who likes to have fun? Who likes to do some daredevil things like cool stuff, jumping around on the trampoline and stuff? Even though Mendy can't talk or he has something called Angelman syndrome, he loves the rides at Luna Park. He's a real daredevil. Okay? And next one. We've just got a few more. You guys are doing really, really well. You are not allowed to ask questions about someone who is different. I'm going to repeat that. You are not allowed to ask questions someone who is different. Who thinks that's true? Raise your hand. Who doesn't agree? Right. We're going to get back to that because this is a really, really important point. Because yes, you are allowed to ask questions about someone who's different to you, and it's important to ask questions so you know what's the best way to treat them and what's the best way to communicate. But we're going to talk about how we ask the questions. So yes, questions are so important, but we're going to talk about how. So hold that in, hold that. Okay, and I think we've just got one more. It's okay to stare at someone. It's okay to stare at someone. Who thinks it's okay to stare at someone? Do either thumbs up or thumbs down. Oh, it looks like a lot of people don't agree. That's fantastic. It's not okay to stare at anyone, no matter if that person's different to you, or if that person has a different color hair than you, or if that person has got a different color skin than you. Okay, I think that was the last one. Let me just check. We are all one. And let me just check if there's one more. Okay, great. Are we all one? Well, we're not all the same, but we're all made with how Hashem made us all. Okay. Now I want to ask you a question, because I want it to be very practical. And look what I've brought to show you. This is called a pod book. Can you see it? And it has lots and lots. It's very, very thick. Can you see? And it actually has lots of different dividers. And for example, food and drink. And then over here, it has all the food and drinks that Mendy would want to choose. And it even has, let me find it. Oh, cholet and schnitzel. Or for example, let me find you here. It does get a bit complicated, but let me show you. So this is what we call Mendy's communication book. So we go over here and let's say we want to find places, okay? So here is a list of all the places that Mendy would go to. He'd go to synagogue, he'd go horse riding, and then over here we also, Bunnings, you know, you got to go to Bunnings. And let's say people. I'm just going to find you the people just to show you quickly. I can't find this. Give me 1 second. See, look, for his book, it has religion. So it has Hashem, and it has Shul, and I can't find the people. Sorry, I'll get back to you. Hold on 1 second. Oh, here we go. So for the people, let's say I say, do you want to have a bath with Tati, or do you want to have a bath with Mummy? And here's his siblings, and here's his grandparents. Okay? So this is one way that we can communicate. But I'm going to get back to now. Hold on, I just want to do a gallery screen so I can see everyone. Yeah, great. Okay, so now this is very, very important. We spoke about asking questions. Now, I want to ask you a question, and you can be very, very honest. You don't have to answer this question, but you can think it on your head. Imagine you're walking down the street, and you're going to the park. And when you get to the park, you see a boy who's in a wheelchair, and he may have a dribble bib, and he may be making funny sounds, and he may be flapping his hands, and he may be doing things that you're not sure about, and you might be a bit nervous. Or sometimes you might even be a bit scared. Do you think you're allowed to have those feelings?
Of course.
Why do you think we should have those feelings? Sophia, and your sister, sorry, I forgot your name.
Because if we don't have those feelings, then
you can't feel anything.
Also, because then you don't have any feelings.
That's right. Does it mean that if we see someone is different, we straight away have to be comfortable with them? No. Sometimes it may take us a little time. Like sometimes when Mendy goes to shul, there was a little girl who didn't like to play next to Mendy because Mendy doesn't always know how to share, and he might pull her toys. So I had to explain to this beautiful little girl that it's okay. You don't always have to play with Mendy, and you can get upset if Mendy pulls your toys. Okay? There's nothing wrong if sometimes we get a bit nervous or a bit scared, or we don't know what to say, or we don't know what to do. Even adults don't always know what to do. But are we allowed to stare at someone who's different? If they have a different color face, or they might be in a walker, what should we do if we're not so comfortable? What should we do if we're not so comfortable seeing someone or someone in the park? Or someone might come, let's say you're in the park, and someone comes and wants to go on the swing that's next to you. Jake, what do you think we should do? Jake, you don't want to answer. Who would like to answer? We'll give someone else a turn. I know you two girls are great. Who else would like to answer? Jake.
Be friends.
That's right. How can we be friends? What if we're a bit nervous and we're not sure what to do?
What would you do?
Maybe some days you could like meet each other at parks.
That's right. Maybe we can meet them at the park. Now, sometimes if we're not sure what to do, usually that person is with an adult. All right. So for example, I'm going to talk to you about Mendy. So let's say I take Mendy to the park, and let's say you're on the climbing frame and he might start pulling at you because he wants your attention. So you might be not sure what to do. So what you can do, this is a good idea, which I think so, is you can come up to me and say, hey, is that your son? What's the best way that I could play with him? What do you think I could do that I could make sure he's happy? Or if you're not comfortable that he's pulling you, say, do you mind to please tell him to stop pulling at me? Or if you might say, hey, how come Mendy's 7 and he's still in a pram? And I might say to you, thank you for asking me that question. That's fantastic. Because Hashem made Mendy different. Just like we saw that video of all those beautiful children, some has different hair, some have different color, some have freckles, some are tall. Hashem made Mendy a bit different, that his body doesn't develop as much as other people's, and his brain works differently, so he just does things differently. But you can talk to him, and you can be friends, and maybe you can ask me to help him, put him on the swing so that you can play together. You never should feel that you can't ask a question. Questions are so important because Mendy wants to join in, but sometimes he doesn't know how to. And sometimes if you, for example, sometimes happen that you might stare for a second just because they might look different. Like we saw in their video that there are some children who have to be fed through their nose. It's called like a feeding tube through their nose. Or some children might have a hearing aid. Or some children might have I never know how to say the word, a tracheotomy, where they breathe through their neck. Everybody's very different. And it's okay sometimes if you're not sure, but you can always ask the adult. And sometimes, even if you stare for a second, you know what you can quickly do? Look at this. Look how I changed my stare in 1 second. You watching me? Raise your hand if you're looking at my face. Awesome. So let's say I see someone who looks a bit different, or who's screaming, or who's flapping. I straight away, instead of just looking at them like this, I suddenly can have a smile and just wave. You don't need to do anything more. That's all you need to do. So we're going to practice that. Everybody do a staring face on. Everyone do like a staring face. Like you're not sure, you know, that sort of a face. And now everyone, I'm going to count to 3 and we're going to do a smiley face. Everybody staring. 1, 2, 3. Great. Now, that's excellent. So this is very important. You can always ask questions. And another very important thing, just because Mendy can't use his words to speak. Now, I'm using Mendy as an example, but I know lots and lots of children like Mendy. You can still talk to him. He may not answer you, but he's listening to you and he understands what you're saying. Remember we had that slide? Just because someone doesn't talk doesn't mean they don't understand. So if you're playing a game in the park, or you're in the school park, in the schoolyard when it's not Corona, or if you're in the shopping center and you see someone, instead of just looking at them, you can say, hey, isn't this a cool drink bottle? And they might smile, or they might just give you a blank face. And sometimes it's really cool. You know, I have a friend whose son uses an eye gazer. Has anyone ever heard of an eye gazer? An eye gazer is when you use your eyes at the screen and it goes to letters and you say what you want with an eye gazer. So sometimes, hopefully, Like Mendy has a friend who knows how to use this pod book really, really fast. We're not very good at it yet because we've just started, but sometimes they can communicate to you and actually answer back with your questions that you ask them. So I'm just going to recap some very, very important points. Just keeping an eye on the time. It's always okay to ask questions. It's always okay to want to know. Because if you want to really play with that boy or that girl properly, you might need to know what's the best way. Just like, for example, does anyone know anyone, raise your hand, if you know someone with an allergy? Who knows someone with an allergy? Right? I know whenever I have people coming to my house, I always say to them, is there an allergy I should know about? Because God forbid, I wouldn't want someone to come to my house and I give them something that they're allergic to. So I always ask that question. So, and there's nothing wrong, you're keeping them safe. So to someone who's a little bit different to us, to keep them safe and to keep them happy, we have to ask questions the best way. And number two, it's okay sometimes to feel nervous. It's okay to be scared sometimes. It's okay to sort of think, oh, did I say the right thing? And especially with adults, sometimes you think, should I say something? Should I not say something? And I can't talk for everyone, but for me as a mom, I always feel I'd rather you say something, and I find if it comes from a good place, that's okay. We all make mistakes. Okay? Now, does anyone have any questions before we move forward? Raise your hand. You guys are being excellent. Okay. Now, we know that we're all created in the image of Hashem. And it's a big mitzvah to love and be kind to everyone. And that doesn't matter. And like we said with the lollies, as you can see here, our outsides might be different, but at the end of the day, we're all the same. We all have a heart. We all have feelings. We all want to be loved. And you know what? The world is a much better place when we're all different. So I'm going to show you a short video. Oh, what happened? Okay, who can tell me what they understood from that video? Sophie.
There were different balloons, and I think you're trying to put an example, because like everyone's different, and wouldn't it be even better if everyone were together?
That's
And
right.
so
Beautiful. Thank you, Sophie. Does anyone want to add to that point? Raise your hand. Benji, do you want to say something? Annalise, sorry. Yes, Annalise.
So like all the balloons, all the different colors, they all look beautiful themselves. Just like different people could be beautiful themselves, but all together they're much better.
That's right. Thank you so much. Anyone else want to say something? So the balloons were all beautiful colors. But can you remember the picture when it was just one color, or when it was so many all different colors together? So just because we're all different, it actually makes the world really, really beautiful. And I'm going to read you this. If a crayon could talk, okay? The crayon doesn't really talk, but I'm going to show you this. The crayon box that talked. Wouldn't it be terrible Wouldn't it be sad if just one single color was the color that we had? If everything was purple or red or blue or green, or yellow, pink or orange was all that could be seen. Can you just imagine how dull the world would be if just one single color was all that we could see? So just like we have so many different colors from our crayon box, we're all different people. We all look different, we all like different things, and we all have different abilities. Everyone has different abilities. I'm not very good at all this computer stuff. My son, who's 10, did all this PowerPoint stuff for me. Does that make that I'm not good? No, I have my talents and he has his talents. So the world is a much better place if we celebrate everyone's abilities. And we should try and always focus on what we're good at and what difference do I make to the world. Okay? Now I know we're running a bit late, but we're running actually good on time. So I'm just checking one more thing. So I think I'm going to give you some time for questions, but I think a few points that we're going to go through that's really, really important. We are all very, very, very special in our own way. Each one of us, everyone tap yourself on the shoulder. Every single one of us are so, so special in our own way. And we have to celebrate the specialness about us. And we should be proud of who we are. And if we're not good at something, that doesn't matter. Just like and also what's really important is that we should be the best that we can be. The blue crayon shouldn't try and be the green crayon. And the yellow crayon shouldn't try and be the purple crayon. Because what sort of colors would we have if everyone's trying to be someone else? And another really important thing is that if you see someone who's a bit different to you, or as like we say, if someone has a disability, or if someone you're not sure, you can always ask questions. And there's many, many ways that we can include them. Can I tell you something really cute that happened? And then I'm going to give you time for questions because I know I've been giving you a lot of information. Mendy crawls around a lot. He's getting good at cruising around and he walks around with his walker, but he's a really fast crawler. And one day my cousin came to visit and their son was around 2.5. And it was the most cutest thing. He was near Mendy and Mendy was crawling. So this 2.5-year-old boy, Ari, said, hey, I mean, he didn't say this, but I could feel, he suddenly went down on the floor and started crawling to be next to Mendy, and they had a little crawling race. So he was a 2.5-year-old, and you're way much bigger, and he thought, how can I play with Mendy? And at that moment, crawling with Mendy was a good idea. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to think about how can we make sure that just like we don't want to be left out and we want to belong and we want to feel loved, how can we make sure that everyone, no matter if we're different, no matter if we know how to talk verbally, no matter if we use a walker, no matter if we have a hearing aid, no matter if we can't eat, we have to be tube fed. How can we make sure that we are kind and that everyone belongs? Does anyone have any good suggestions? I'm sure you do. I can't wait to hear them. Who's got some good suggestions that can share them with us? Jakey? Anyone have some suggestions or you're all thinking? Sophia has a good suggestion.
Treat people as they want you to treat them.
Exactly. Treat people how we would want to be treated. I want to feel included. I want to belong. You want to belong. So too does Mendy and all the other children. I'm just giving an example of Mendy because he's my son, but I'm talking on behalf of lots and lots of children. But now I do preface to the adults, not everyone thinks like me. Some parents I know are very quiet and don't want to tell everyone around them all their things about their child. And I am very open, and the reason why I am as open is because we feel that it's the best for us and for Mendy, because when people know who he is and know about him, they know how to treat him, and that's worked for us. but I'm not saying that it's the rule for everyone. Like, I have some friends whose children also have special needs, and they don't like to talk about it so much. But when I have talked, I've asked a lot of them, because I do lots of different talks, and they've all agreed with what we've spoken about, that it's okay to ask questions, that it's okay to sometimes not feel sure, but not everyone is always as open. And sometimes, especially adults, if you see that the person doesn't want to give forth more information, then sort of that you just have to sort of not back off, but sort of, go, not ask too many questions. But just like no two children are the same, no two children, even with the same syndrome. Like, for example, Mendy has what we call Angelman syndrome, and he's actually the only Jew in Melbourne that has that syndrome. And there's no one in Sydney, but there's someone in Perth. But for example, children with Down syndrome, I know a lot of children with Down syndrome, and they're not all the same. Children who have autism doesn't mean they're all the same. And I think that's really important, not to put everyone in the box of this is this. Just like someone who's 11, things like that. So does anyone have any questions? I'm more than happy to do my best in answering questions. And thank you so much, Yaffa, for this opportunity. I'm happy to stay on for as long as you want with questions. And I think it's absolutely incredible that you all came on your Sunday when you could be doing other things, because you guys, by being here, you are saying a message very loud and clear that everyone matters, everyone is important, and you're making a huge difference to not only your life, but to everyone's life. So if anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer, from the children, from the adults. And honestly, this was just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that we can learn and that we could do, because we're all in a work in progress. And another thing that I just want to say is that to the adults, before Mendy was diagnosed, I also wasn't sure about what to do about things. And sometimes if I saw someone who was a bit different, you sometimes think, I'll just cross the roads because I don't know the right thing to say. And that's okay. But once Mendy was diagnosed and we learned and we live it, you sort of realize what you can do and sort of those things. So adults, it's 100% okay to not be sure. But as I always say, often friends will say to me, oh, Menucha, did I say the wrong thing or something? And I'll be like, no. If I know you're coming from a good place and it's words from the heart, that's beautiful, And sometimes people, on the negative side, there are going to be people that say things that are inappropriate and that you wish you can't actually believe that it came out of your mouth. But you know what? It does hurt sometimes, but you have to also take that in your stride. So, and sometimes you have to realize they don't understand, not in a bad way, but, a friend of mine, like I'll give you an example. A friend of mine was walking with her child and he's in a pram. And they said to her, why is he so big? Why is he in a pram still? And I'm sure that person that said that probably didn't understand or didn't look too closely that he couldn't walk. So we just have to be really careful. But the bottom line is, I say that with everyone, we just have to be sensitive with everyone's needs. Every single human being, we don't necessarily know what's going on. So every single one. And I want to give a big thank you to my beautiful son, Yitzchak David, who did all the PowerPoints. Show your face. So thank you, Yitzchak David. And I'm very happy to answer questions from the adults or the children. You can take yourself off mute.
Menucha, that was fantastic. Thank you.
Can
I ask you where the balloon video is from? Do you have a link for it?
Yeah, it's from YouTube, and it's called, because I did a talk a while ago and I showed this video, and then it took me like 2 hours to find it again. So I screenshotted it. Do it for diversity, I think. Let me know if you can't find it.
Okay, amazing. Thank you. Kol hakavod, it was really amazing.
Thank you. Yes, Sophie.
Is Mendy gonna learn how to walk one day?
That's a really good question. Now, how it works, that we all have a brain, right? Yeah. And the way our brain works is we have lots of different, so to speak, wires that connect our brain to different parts of our body, right, Sophie? So different parts of our body, the brain will tell our different parts of our body to move your hand, like my brain now with the wires are telling my hand to move. Now Mendy's brain works a bit differently, so his body is not as strong. Please God, we hope he will walk. I mean, now he's walking. You can ask your mum to show you this video, that he knows how to walk along these parallel bars that he wasn't able to do in 2 years, two, 3, a few months ago. So we hope he does a lot of therapy, a lot of hard work, and his body's getting really strong. So please God, we pray that he will be able to walk. And we want him, like, to be honest, we don't want Mendy to be like Yitzchak David, and Yitzchak David doesn't need to be like Mendy. Everyone needs to be the best that they can be. But please God, one day he will be able to walk. But I can't promise you, but we have to try our best. Good question. Anyone else questions?
Just want to say, found it. Thank you so much.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any? Yes.
I have a question. Does, in terms of Mendy, when you have a mask on outside, does that have any issue in terms of, or is that not how you communicate, or does that play any role in communication? I know it does for other disabilities, but does that play any role?
That's a really good question. I was actually really nervous that Mendy would sort of get a bit worried, but to be honest, Mendy's phenomenal in a way. He doesn't get he doesn't mind like all different sensory things. He doesn't mind to be touched in different feels, and so he actually wasn't too scared. And it is sometimes hard, like when the physio came and had to work with him, she just had to talk really loud. So he doesn't get nervous. I can still kiss him through my mask so he gets happy. It is a challenge for the older children with a disability who have to wear masks, because that's really hard, a lot of friends have said. And thank God Mendy can hear, so it hasn't been a problem, but he doesn't usually mind. But sometimes there are masks that are made actually with see-through by the mouth for people who are hard of hearing and things like that, to make it easy. But, it's very interesting, because we would think of a simple thing as a mask, but you are sensitive to those issues. But for some people, wearing a mask is huge. Children are scared, you can't hear them, and things like that. So that's a really good question. And we're very lucky, actually. I do want to comment that we have on here Victoria Bart, who works with Mendy's aid, who is unbelievable at Yeshiva, and Tali Rink, who was Mendy's aid at Creche. So thank you so much, guys. Does anyone else have any more questions?
Menucha, do you think you'll do the pod book on the iPad? Would it be easier?
It's a really good question, and to be honest, we find the pod book a real challenge, because
navigating it is the hard.
It is really, really heavy, if you can see.
By
the time I turn to one page, Mendy almost has lost his concentration.
No,
but the thing is, what's very interesting is that the person that invented the pod book, if you can look, children and adults, the pod book, this one only has 9 pictures, but other pod books have around 24, I think. And it's supposed to be able, like, you wouldn't just tell 5 words to a child. You want to give Mendy the opportunity to say in his own way as many things as you want. So Mendy also does like there are some machines, like if you press I, it says I. Mendy and a lot of children like to hear the cause and the effect. So we're looking to they do use these at Glen Allen. Mendy actually is very lucky that he goes to a specialist school 3 days a week, and he goes to Yeshiva Mainstream 2 days a week under the amazing care of Victoria. So Glen Allen used this book, and I must say they are unbelievable with it, but it is a big challenge for us. And they did say that you have to model for around 2 years until he's able to do it. But it is, I am looking at getting an iPad where it speaks back. So, and with less words, because I feel like we're losing it. And we do a bit of sign, but it's pretty amazing how we can sort of, most of the time, know what Mendy wants. And to be honest, sometimes it's a real challenge. I find the hardest thing about him having Angelman syndrome is when he's screaming in pain and he can't tell me what's wrong. It's just devastating, and it's happened a few times where he has just screamed so much And we've actually had to take him to hospital quite a few times where he's been, and he actually once was really sick, but there was no way of him showing us because he couldn't actually say it was my stomach. And he actually was in hospital with pancreatitis, which is so rare for children. And that is one of the challenges. The hardest thing for us is that when he's struggling and he can't tell us. So, you know, that's a real struggle.
Has Glen Ellen suggested individual ALDs at all?
Individual what?
ALDs, just the individual picture symbols?
No, they don't really, because they don't want to, they sort of feel like this is the way they
He's
do
moved
it.
past that,
But we are going to probably do, you know, I know Victoria at school uses a board at the school and it's on the desk at school. And, you know, I think also for adults and the children is sometimes you don't always know what to do, but the more you're exposed and the more you're aware, like honestly, to be honest, children, I want to ask you a question. This is for the kids. How many books that you read have you seen a picture of someone with a disability in a wheelchair or with a hearing aid or with AFOs or with a pod book? How many pictures have you seen in books? Sophie, have you seen any?
I don't remember seeing any, but I think I once saw one. I think I once saw one in a book about like what you're talking about.
Right. So Dove Berry just said 1 or 2. Yes. Sophia, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name.
Hold it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, the baby just pushed something.
Oh, that's okay.
I have a book. It's called Ghost. I forgot what the thing's called, but
It's a breathing disability.
The breathing disability.
Right. So a lot of the times books about disability have pictures, but what I was thinking about this talk, I was actually going through children's books. And if you look around, a lot of children's books, slowly they're getting them, but most children's books, you won't find a picture. How are we supposed to let children be comfortable with seeing someone in a wheelchair or seeing someone different if we don't expose them? So for example, now Kmart and Target actually have their models have, there's a girl, Emily, I think her name is, she's wearing AFOs. So I think that's really important for children and adults to feel comfortable to actually see it. So for example, Mendy goes to yeshiva and it's beautiful. Like one dad said to me, the boys don't look as Mendy as different. He just does things differently. Like we just had a Zoom party with him and it's beautiful how when it becomes normal, like, and you don't single every little bit out, the children are phenomenal. Kids are the best. You guys are amazing. So give yourselves a big clap. It's often actually, to be honest, often more the adults who have feel a bit more uncomfortable. Anyone else have any questions or points? Yes.
Does Mendy, like, does Mendy's friends like sometimes get like a new feel with like uncomfortable with him and like they're in the same class?
Actually, I haven't really felt that. And Mendy's actually had quite a few play dates, quite a few boys. He goes to Yeshiva Boys School. Quite a few boys that come to his class, come to his house and play. And like the other day, to be honest, he's not playing with toys that a typical 7-year-old is playing, right? He isn't playing with toys that a 7-year-old will play. So sometimes we had, this boy came the other day, his friend Jonathan, and then his Jonathan played a little bit with him. And then Jonathan was playing a different game and Mendy was playing a different game. It's called like parallel play. So the boys actually, they love having him in the class and they've had him since he was in kinder and they love him and they celebrate who he is. Sometimes, you know what Victoria does? Like when he wants Mendy to crawl up the stairs, Mendy loves playing with balls. He's a real boy, you know, loves playing with boys and watching the footy with his dad. And Victoria puts the ball on the top of the stairs and they all grow up. And Victoria's great at making so many things exciting for the boys to play. You know what I believe? It's all about our attitude. And thank God Mendy's been around people who love him and most importantly, who believe in him. You know, good children, you know how sometimes you think you're going to climb something, you know, like you're rock climbing, and you know if you have in your head or if someone's saying, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, do you think you'll do it? Or if someone says, no, what way do you think you'll be able to do it better? By saying you can do it. And thank God Mendy's surrounded by so many people who really believe in him. So that's really, really good. Any other questions?
I think, Menucha, if there are no more questions for now, if anyone does have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with Menucha after this. But I just wanted to say thank you so much from the whole Blake Street community and from me personally for coming today and speaking to us all. It was incredible to see how many people really showed up to hear your message and to hear what you had to share. And thank you so much for the community for really coming today and showing up and showing that this is something that you really value and is really important. So we are so grateful to you, Menucha. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And thank you again to everybody. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for all the waves. I really appreciate it. And thank you, really. I really appreciate you all coming. And honestly, check out Mendy's Facebook page. You can find out a lot about Mendy. Its name is Magical Mendy. And if you have any more questions, I'm always happy to answer. And one day when Corona's over, we can actually meet in person. That would be awesome. So thank you. And I'm happy to stay on if anyone else has any more questions.
Thank you, Menucha. Thank you, Yafa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The Facebook is Magical Mendy?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Menucha.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, okay, back.
Thanks again, Menucha. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Yafa.
Thank you. And Menucha, that was amazing. Like, really wonderful job. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.